Now first of all, I have to give this disclaimer. This story is totally real and it totally happened to me, 100%. Starting with day 1, I woke up at 6 a.m. I checked my bank account and I only had $2 left. I lost my job 2 months ago and about to be homeless. I've been applying to jobs left and right, but nobody wants to hire me, not even McDonald's. I was so worried and overthinking about how to pay this month's rent. Not to mention that I'm already 1 month behind on my rent and my landlord is getting pissed. I haven't eaten anything for the past 30 hours, so I decided to spend my last $2 on a $1 burger and a drink from McDonald's. Thinking it's probably my last proper meal and I'm officially homeless after this meal. On my way walking to McDonald's, I decided to stop thinking about it. Just chill a bit. But something happened. I started thinking about myself living a different life. A life of financially free millionaire. I started seeing myself living in a huge house and owning every car I dream of.
Here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini here.
And having every girl I want. I even saw myself with a sexy future wife and beautiful kids playing around. I had an absolutely different image about myself. I really believed it was possible and stopped worrying about being homeless. It wasn't imagination anymore to be a millionaire. It's like seeing my future and believing it's real. Now right before I reached McDonald's, I saw a small box on the ground on McDonald's parking lot. Now the goofy in me decided to kick this box and continue my walk inside McDonald's. I thought this little box was empty. I thought it didn't have anything inside. Little did I know that this small box will change my life forever. Right after I kicked this box, it cracked open, and I couldn't believe what was inside. It's not the watch that fell out of the box that catched my eyes. It was the 200 that was inside the same box. I was so happy that today will not be my last proper meal. This $200 will put food in my stomach for a few days, until I figure something out. Then I started examining the watch, thinking it's a normal old watch that is probably worth about $50. Not until I saw the logo that let me freeze in my place for a few seconds. Then I started telling myself, meh, it's probably a fake Rolex. I looked left and right to make sure that nobody saw me. Thank God nobody was there. So I put the fake Rolex in my backpack and the $200 in my wallet in a blink of a second. Then I went inside to eat something because I was about to pass out. I was stuttering while ordering my $1 burger and drink. I was still processing what the hell just happened. I was thinking, was this meant to be? Was it God who put the box there for me? Did I just commit a crime? Is the Rolex even real? Should I return what I found to the police? Thousands of questions were going through my head the whole time. I had my meal and got some stamina after filling my stomach to think properly. Then I remembered that one of my college friends is working at his family's jewelry store. I picked up my phone and called him right away to tell him that I need his help with something jewelry related. He told me he's about to arrive to his family's jewelry store and asked me to meet him there. So I left McDonald's and took an Uber to meet him there. When I arrived there, he wasn't alone. His dad was there too. He owns the business after all. They both looked at me in a weird way. My friend's dad asked me if I was okay and that I looked sick. I told him that I was fine and walked where my friend was sitting to shake his hand. After a small talk, he asked me what was the thing that I wanted his urgent help with. I looked at his dad, then looked back at him to let him know that we should be alone. He whispered back to me, "It's okay, my dad is cool." His dad heard him and said, "I have to get something from the back safe. I'll be back in a few minutes." Now that we're alone, I wasn't sure where to start. So I decided to start telling him briefly about my current financial status and to what happened this morning. I told him about the box, me kicking it and finding $200 and possibly a fake Rolex. At first he was pissed at me for not asking him for help when my financial crisis started. Then he told me this box was meant to be found by me, although it is risky for me to keep the Rolex if it's a real one, as I don't have papers that proves it's mine, and such a thing could possibly put me in jail. Then he asked me to give him the Rolex so he can examine it. After a few seconds of silence, he said, "I've never seen this model before." Then he looked behind me and said, "What do you think, Dad?" I looked behind me to be shocked that his dad was standing there the whole time. His dad gave me a smile and grabbed the watch from his son's hand. I looked at my friend and he told me, "Don't worry bro, I told you my dad is cool." His dad replied, "I'm also funny." Then he started examining the Rolex while whispering, "No way, no way, no way." To which my friend said, "Enough dad, now tell us, is it real?" His dad replied, "Not only it's real, but it is the one, the 1960 Rolex one. There is only one piece of this watch in the world and it hasn't been seen since the 70s. Now at this point I was shaking. I cannot believe what I'm hearing. So I asked him, "How much does it worth?" He told me it's worth at least $5 million. At this point, I couldn't believe my day was even real. My eyes started tearing up. So I asked him while stuttering, "Where, how, and when can I sell it?" He replied by telling me it's not that easy. First of all, it's probably been stolen for decades, which means there's no documents for it. And issuing documents illegally for a stolen Rolex costs more than you think. At this point, I went back to being disappointed again. I was stuck with a few dollars in my pocket and a $5 million Rolex that I cannot even sell. Not until he told me that I have only two options. Either I sell it to any jewelry thrift store where they will not give me more than $2,000 for it, or I wait until tomorrow so he can check with his connections if he can sell it for me or not, with 20% commission for him. My friend told me I better go with the second option or I will regret not to for the rest of my life, which was exactly what I decided to do. I decided to wait until tomorrow and see what happens. His dad gave me back the Rolex and told me to be careful, and that we will meet tomorrow after he makes his connections. I took the watch and went back home. Time was going so slow. I couldn't even sleep until like 3 AM. Now it's already day 2. After 4 hours of sleeping, I woke up to my phone ringing. It's my friend's dad, so I picked up right away. He started by saying, "I'm sorry I called you this early," and asked me to meet him in the store in 1 hour as he found a VIP buyer that wants it so bad. So I rushed to wash my face, dressed up, took my backpack with the Rolex inside it and ran to the jewelry store. When I reached the store, I was surprised to see him there alone this time. I expected the buyer to be here, or at least my friend. I took a seat and asked him why the buyer is not here yet. He laughed and told me it doesn't work this way. When you're selling a stolen expensive piece of jewelry like this one, you go to the buyer, not the other way around. Then he continued to tell me how dangerous it is and usually people get killed during this process. He then told me that he's taking a private jet sent by the buyer to meet him at a place he doesn't know yet, to exchange the watch for the money. Now I was so scared and worried that the watch would get stolen. Or worse, my friend's dad would get hurt because of me. So I told him to forget about it and cancel everything because I was afraid that he would get killed because of me. He smiled and said to me it's not his first time doing this. He told me that he done it more than 200 times and he's very good at it. He also told me after all you're paying me 20% commission, so I'm only doing my job. Then I gave him the watch and he said see you soon after we shook hands. He got the phone call from the VIP guy and a black car arrived. He went in and the car drove off. I went back to my apartment overthinking the whole situation. Thinking what the hell just happened? What if he gets killed? Will my friend come after me? Now look, I'm not a snitch or anything, but I couldn't help but to call my friend and tell him what type of dangerous jobs his dad is doing and how I put him in risk. Surprisingly, my friend laughed it off and told me, how the hell do you think we're so rich? He told me it's my family's business. My grandfather did it, my dad is doing it, and I did my first $1 million gig last year. At this point, I was very shocked. I didn't know what to say. We ended the call shortly after, and I had nothing to do but to wait. It's 11:30 PM now, and my friend's dad haven't even called me yet. This was the longest day of my life. I kept waiting until 1 AM, then I decided to call my friend's dad. To be surprised that his phone is not being answered. I kept trying over and over to reach him for like 2 hours, but there was no answer at all. Then I called my friend. To my surprise, he also didn't pick up. Now it's already day 3. At this point, I thought my life had ended and someone is coming for me. I couldn't sleep the whole night. I kept trying to call them every now and then, hoping that one of them would pick up. Now until 9 AM, my friend's dad finally picked up. Except it's not him on the phone, it's my friend. Now the first thing he said to me was, "Jesus Christ, dude, 250 missed calls." I said, "Tell me what the hell happened. I'm worried shitless about your father." With a loud laugh, he said, "You sound like my mom." Then he told me that his dad left his phone at the store and that they don't take their phones with them at this type of gigs. We talked for about 5 minutes, then his dad finally walked in the store. He took the phone right away and started talking to me. He told me that he's coming to my place and asked for my address. So I sent him my address and after about 25 minutes someone knocked on my door. I opened the door and there he was with a big smile on his face with my friend standing behind him. He told me, "Hey kid," and came in holding a big bag. After I closed the door, he opened the big bag. And on the inside it was full of $100 bills. He told me, "This is your cut. Exactly $4 million. Then he shook my hand and told me, "It's a pleasure doing business with you." And he left. At this point, I was alone looking at a huge bag of money inside my apartment. Just 3 days ago, I was walking to McDonald's to eat a $1 burger as my last meal before becoming homeless. Now I'm literally a millionaire. Then I remembered what I was thinking about before reaching McDonald's that day. The millionaire life that I was imagining that day just felt so real. Then only 2 seconds after that, the craziest thing happened. My mom woke me up from such a beautiful dream to take the trash out.